Hello again, welcome back to Vickie's Country Home. Last night, Monday, July 1st, I was the guest of the week on Two Family Homestead's live chat. And I had a great time. It was really enjoyable, and I'll leave a link to that up there. But it kind of opened my eyes to something. The questions that I was asked and the conversation going on, there is so much interest in a few topics that I've decided that maybe I need to do a live stream, and not just one, probably 3, maybe 4 live streams once a week to kind of address some of these and hopefully answer somebody's questions that they are trying to do it themselves or they're looking for answers. And I think besides what I can share, there's other people out there that can share it too. And that's why I think a live stream would be the best format for that. So I'm on here tonight asking, first of all, for your opinion of these topics. And I'm also asking for when that live stream would be best for the most people. And it's never going to be perfect. There's so many homestead live streams out there. It's always going to step on somebody. So with my schedule and looking at the schedule of the known live streams, I've kind of narrowed it down to 2 nights, so we'll look at that. But starting out, what the topics that really seem to be of interest are first of all being off-grid. What does it mean? Is it the same for everybody? There's a lot of misconceptions. My setup is very different. But it's how do you live? What choices do you make? How do you adjust your lifestyle to fit that? And there's going to be adjustment no matter what. Even if you have a house like mine, you're going to have to make some adjustment. You're going to have to make choices. So I decided that deserved one whole live stream. What are the challenges? What are the solutions? What is the mindset? Because more than anything, if you're off-grid, you have to be flexible. You have to be able to try different things and be ready to change when it's necessary. So your mindset is critical. So I thought that would be one live stream. Another one is about homesteads, and again, there's a lot of misconception there, but in general, a homestead is when you are trying to become self-sufficient. It doesn't mean you are, but it means you are taking steps. And to me, and there's a lot of argument there, to me that could be somebody in an apartment that is starting out trying to pay off debt. They're trying to grow something on their balcony. They're trying to put some food aside. There's a lot of different levels, and that's my opinion. I know others won't always agree with it, but when it comes to homesteads, once you establish a homestead, and this is generally after you move onto a piece of property, big or small, there are things that you're going to have to think about. Safety. I mean, there's a lot of ways to hurt yourself on a homestead. Let's just be realistic. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Medical emergencies. There's a lot of those, and your location can make or break your situation. So that's another part of it. And security, because I hope nothing ever happens. But we had a scare last week where there was some guy that we think he was probably coming off of meth or something along those lines, waving his arms in the air in front of our house on the road, heading back out of the valley. Now, we have no idea how he got here, but we are suspecting that he came cross-country across very steep, treacherous mountain. That's all we can figure. And the next morning, he was in front of the house. My daughter was house sitting at 5 in the morning, waving his arms and cussing, and so there was something going on. But that's not normal here. So even though our valley has quite a reputation, apparently, about you really don't want to do things here, things still happen. So your security for your home, your security for your family, that's all part of a homestead. So I'd like to do one live stream just about that. And then this kind of goes along with it, but this can be for anyone. And the next live stream would be preparedness, because whatever your situation is, life can change, things can happen. We had a number of things happen to us this winter. It was very challenging. The end of January, within probably a 3-day period, we found out that Brian was losing his job at the end of March because we didn't live in the right city. We found our refrigerator died, and at the same time we had a very heavy snowfall, and then we had very warm rain. Living in a valley with mountains surrounding us, that means snow melts, water rushes through, and it continued being stormy and rainy for a month and a half. It took a month and a half before our road was repaired because the bridge almost washed out completely. It was just enough with four-wheel drive, you could barely get out. We had to wait a month and a half for that to get repaired enough to safely go across it. We had to wait a month and a half before we could get our refrigerator repaired because the repairman couldn't get here. And our septic got plugged up and we couldn't get help again because of that. So for a month and a half, we were extremely challenged. We had to deal with hauling water outside to dump it and doing all kinds of things that are not normal. We were prepared, honestly. We really were. It took us by surprise. And then we had loss of a job. And that's our primary income. I still work, but it was a challenging winter, and we still have challenges, but we're getting through it. With our faith and our hard work and his help, we're getting through it, and we will. So I want to do one live stream that's talking about whatever comes up, whether it's weather or just, it could be a catastrophe, it could be earthquakes, it could be any hurricanes, anything. If you want to talk about zombie apocalypse, I guess you could talk about that. That's not why I prepare, but I'm sure that if it happened, we could deal with it. So, part of preparedness, there's so many parts. Gardening. You need to be as self-sufficient as possible. You need to have seeds. You need to know how to garden. You need to have supplies. In our case, fencing, netting to keep the grasshoppers out. There's a lot of different things. So gardening is a big one. What goes along with that is canning and dehydrating, because you have to be able to preserve those foods, because when they come in, you tend to get a lot. And you need to put it back for difficult times. Storage of other types, and that could be all kinds of supplies. I mean, Lisa Sutton, I know her big one is toilet paper. that's important. Soaps, medicines, whatever your particular situation, being prepared in that way. Fuel, whether it's gas to run a generator, in our case, diesel, propane, whatever kinds of fuel, butane if you're, whatever you're running anything off of, if the power goes out or whatever, you need to have some fuel stored and know how to do it properly. Security, like the last one. Again, if you are in a preparedness situation, you might need to have some security. So that goes with it. And to me, one of the biggest parts, even I'd say pretty much equal with gardening, is community. Who is your community? Who do you trust? How do you build that community? That to me is the most priceless thing that we have here on our homestead. Our community is incredible. Our community have come from all over the country, and they're like family. We have really become more like family than anything. Who can you call on when you need help? So I think all of those are part of preparedness, and whether I could do that in one live stream or not, I really don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. But then the other subject that just got so much attention last night, and it ties into all of these, is living off-grid. What kind of solar or wind or whatever type power you're going to be off-grid with. And some people just use a generator. I've heard of that out here. But there was so much interest in that we have decided, Brian and I are going to put together a video that is just talking about our system and showing you some of the components and how you decide what you need and how you decide what situation would fit you best, how to find people that are knowledgeable and can help you. So we're going to do a video on that one. I think that would be very hard to do a live stream because we'll be walking around and showing different things. But there's just so much interest in that, and we could have kept talking for a lot longer, I think, and it went kind of late. So tell me what you think about these subjects, and tell me if there's things you don't want to hear or you do want to hear. Give me some input so that we can prepare for this and get these set up, because I think these things are important. I don't think about what I think about them, but it's more subconscious. It's just part of my lifestyle, and I know I'm doing things. I know I need to do things. I don't think, oh, I need to stop and prepare. It's just part of what I have learned to do. So give me some help here on what will help you. And that comes up to the subject of when will I do these. So I have narrowed it down to 2 nights that work for me and that I think might fit in with all the other live streams out there. So we're kind of choosing between Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So for me, that's 5 p.m. So Tuesday at 8 looked like it might be okay, or 7:30, somewhere in that time frame. So depending on where you're at, tell me what you think of those 2. And then on Wednesday night, I'm looking at either 8 p.m. Eastern or 9 p.m. Eastern. Either of those nights I think will work for me. And I'm not going to start this immediately. It may be a couple weeks before I can get this going. So put your comments below or email me, and either one is fine. My email will be below, so you can send me something if you would prefer. Tell me what you'd like to see. Tell me if these subjects are of interest to you. And tell me which of those times and days would work best for you. Because I'm going to need to kind of get that narrowed down and announce it so people have time to plan to be available. So I hope this is of interest, and it seemed to be. It was very lively discussion and, like I said, very good questions. And I know that there's people out there that are trying to do this in some form. And it's hard to find people that can help. And you go on YouTube and there's a lot out there, but it can be confusing if you don't know where to start. So I think this might be helpful. So comment, email me, let me know what you think, and please tell me your preference on the days and times. Thank you for watching. God bless, and we'll talk again soon.